Now, Li Fong of The Intercept has written another great article about pay for play. Now, he details how a billionaire hedge fund manager with ties to Mike Pence is using a loophole in campaign finance law to fund the Trump-Pence ticket, which would, of course, help him in the long run. Now, the story talks about a man named Steven Feinberg. Now, Steven Feinberg is a billionaire hedge funder who is the chief executive of Cerberus Capital Management. Now, that's actually kind of a cool name. Cerberus, three-headed dog. Cerberus Capital Management just happens to also have a major contract with Indiana to manage their state retirement fund. Now, Feinberg had donated about $500,000, about $500,000, to help elect Donald Trump. So you might be asking, okay, look, people make political donations all the time. What's the problem? What's the problem? The problem is, this is breaking pay-for-play regulations. Now, the pay-for-play regulations were established by the SEC to prohibit firms that are handling pension money, as Cerberus Capital Management does, from using campaign donations to influence officials who oversee their contracts. That official being Mike Pence, who oversees the contracts in Indiana. In fact, this pension fund in Indiana is worth $30 billion. Mike Pence is the guy who oversees these. So wait, according to these pay-for-play rules, he can't give that donation just to the Trump-Pence campaign, because that would be illegal. That would break this. So how is he able to get away with this? Well, The Intercept explains, Feinberg, like many hedge fund managers, can legally sidestep the pay-to-play rule by donating not directly to the presidential campaign, but to a presidential super PAC, groups that are supposed to be independent from political campaigns. They were set up, you can't coordinate with your super PAC, but they can run something called advocacy ads or independent expenditures on behalf of one candidate. So yesterday I talked about coordination between campaigns and their super PACs and how it happens to be rampant even though it's illegal to coordinate between FEC rules. Now, Li Fong, David Sirota, Glenn Greenwald, they've all done great reporting. And this reporting has shown that the coordination between super PAC and political campaign and political candidate just happens to be at an incredibly high level. Why? Because there is no enforcement from the FEC. The FEC is, in effect, incredibly ineffectual at doing its job. They have a board, it's 3 Democrats, 3 Republicans, and they disagree on everything. When they're deadlocked, they can't get anything done, they can't go after people. And so they won't go after people for going through a loophole. And they certainly won't close that loophole either. So, here are more details, right, about what exactly Feinberg had done. Now, Feinberg's donation was made to a PAC named Rebuilding America Now. Now, that is one of the major Donald Trump super PACs that is using independent expenditures in order to run campaign commercials in support of Donald Trump. Now, as I mentioned, Feinberg seems to be using his donation, in my opinion, to get a good contract because Mike Pence, as I mentioned, right now as governor, still controls these contracts. That would be advantageous. Well, gee, Mike Pence controls the contract. He's running for president or vice president under Trump. I'll give this money, and if he wins, I get a long contract. So, look, if somebody else becomes governor, they can't break our contract. And I can make millions of dollars off of this pension fund because that's what it comes down to. And I'll, of course, get to that later. Now, Jaleesa Hills, who is a spokesperson for the Indiana Retirement Fund, said, look, I'm not aware of any violations of the SEC's federal pay-to-play law in regard to Feinberg's donation. Yes, because that's a loophole. Give to a super PAC. You're not actually giving to a candidate, but it is shady. And it should be against the law. It should be illegal. Now, according to an investigation by WISH-TV, a local Indiana station, the state retirement system initially invested $3 million into a Cerberus fund in 2003, followed by a $78 million investment into another Cerberus fund in 2006. And in fact, Cerberus Capital is still listed as the most recent annual report for the Indiana retirement system. That's why he's donating this money. Because, hey, we put our fund into one of your funds. We put our money into your fund. You make money off that, and I get political donations. That's how this game is played. How that's not considered pay for play, I have no idea. Other than the fact that it's a glaring loophole you could drive a truck through. You could drive the Trump campaign bus through it. And it's so obvious. It's so obvious. And yet we can't do anything to close this loophole. Now, even with all this, if you're still not convinced that this is an issue, there is more. According to the firm Sidley Austin, which is a law firm, which published a fact sheet on the pay-to-play rule, Pence appoints the trustees of the Indiana pension system, a power that triggers the SEC rule on campaign contributions. Pension and Investments, an industry trade publication, has also pointed out that a number of Trump-supporting hedge fund managers, including Feinberg, faced restrictions because they manage Indiana's pension money. Now, those rules were originally created in 2010 to deter rampant corruption in pension contracts. Hedge funds and other managers of pension money have been accused of aggressively courting pension contracts, which can earn the funds tens of millions of dollars in management fees. So now we get to why. Why do they want these contracts with Pence so bad? It's because of the money. You got to follow the money. And with all of that money at stake, tens of millions of dollars, they're going to try to find ways to get past that rule. And of course, the newest is through donating through a super PAC. Now, this is one reason why we should overturn Citizens United. However, let me point out that even without Citizens United, they'll still try to find ways to get around the pay-for-play rules. Now, my idea to stop this whole thing is to get money completely out of politics. Gone. Publicly financed elections all the way. And guaranteed with a constitutional amendment stating that clearly money is not speech and corporations are not people. That, I think, is the only way we can effectively close these loopholes and get our government back from the hedge funders, the billionaires, and the oligarchs. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent, non-corporate media, go to our Patreon page and become a patron. Patreon.com/TYTNation.